Good afternoon, everyone. I am Winward Dale, and this presentation is being done in partial fulfillment for the course Writing for Research and Publication. The topic I will be presenting on today is to what extent are assessments a driving force to enhance pedagogical practice for high functioning elementary students on the autism spectrum. Using the week 5 template made narrowing the research topic much easier because it provided the components that allowed the researcher to eliminate the areas that were no longer necessary and keep the essential components for the research to answer the hypothesis. Assessment in autism is the overarching theme of the study. However, the template allowed the researcher to navigate the other subtopics of instruction and more specifically how assessment acts as an influencer toward enhancing teaching practices with students on the autism spectrum. The topic of assessment as a motivating factor to improve teaching strategies with students on the autism spectrum in the elementary grades is critical because it sets the foundation on which the educator creates a plan for individual students to learn and grow. Assessments demonstrate to the educator the immediate needs of students and help set goals for individual students. Assessments allow the educator to view teaching as a developmental process that takes time to be cultivated, which involves input and feedback, and assessments help the educator to understand students' interests, style of learning, and preferred mode of communication. Kudo and Visco 2021. High functioning students on the autism spectrum in the elementary grades thrive on feedback, praise, implicit instruction, reinforcement, and explicit instruction. These factors consider the effects assessment have on the growth and development of students on the autism spectrum, with particular emphasis on using such feedback to demonstrate growth. They demonstrate that growth directly reflects results from both formal and informal assessments in a structured setting and during instructional periods. In making conclusions regarding students' progress, educators gather information from formal assessments because they contain data obtained directly from the assessments, for example, standardized assessments. However, informal assessments used during instructions are referred to as preference-based measures or criterion reference measures. Summary of the topic. Assessments help to improve both teacher practice and student outcomes, depending on how they are presented and received. The use of different assessment instruments and techniques greatly impacts student outcomes because they help to set goals for the student to achieve, and they are followed up with reinforcement and encouragement. Enhancing the process of assessment is of vital importance to know what students' needs are. Progress monitoring, guided instruction, and provide support. Clendon et al. 2021. Coupled with assessment, direct instruction, verbal and physical prompting, and modeling has been identified as an evidence-based practice that enhances students' outcomes due to assessments. Adams et al. 2021. Things to know about the topic. Students on the autism spectrum have varied educational needs that require proficient educators to meet said needs, and in meeting those needs, the educator must be aware of the importance of assessment and how they affect growth and process. Progression is measured by students' response to assessment, whether it is formal or informal. Therefore, the educator must be aware of the following. Assessment should improve pedagogical practice with high functioning students on the autism spectrum. The curriculum for high functioning students on the autism spectrum must reflect the inclusion of both formal and informal assessments, and educators must have a solid understanding of students' educational needs and goals, and they must be reflected in pedagogical practice. Buttigieg et al. 2021. Why is a topic worth exploring? As high-functioning students on the autism spectrum learn and grow, their cognitive abilities increase. Therefore, new and innovative techniques are required to captivate their attention. Standardized tests, which are formal assessments, provide a clear understanding of the learning needs of students. Therefore, educators are required to be able to meet these needs that are identified through students taking formal assessments. Multiple assessment instruments allow monitoring of student learning and function as a standard to track student progress. Bankert et al. 2019. Therefore, once educators and students understand the role of assessments and how results affect pedagogical practice, progress should be expected and growth should be monitored. Relevant conferences. Now there are two conferences that speaks to matters concerning special education. The first one is the International Conference on Special Education and Individual Needs, the NCSEIN, and that will be held on June 3rd in New York City. The second one is the International Conference on Special Needs Education, the ICSNE, which will be held on June 7th in San Francisco. Justify appropriateness of conferences. The International Conference on Special Education and Individual Needs seeks to bring together researchers in the field of education, academics, and students to share ideas and designs within the field of special education. This conference is appropriate for such a topic because autism is a major classification for special education students, and discussing topics on testing and pedagogical skills would fit this conference. The International Conference on Special Needs Education is a combined organization which gives professionals from multiple fields to present scholarly work at their conference. Graduate students are encouraged to take part in this conference because of the high quality of presentations that are done. Other professionals, such as professors and industry researchers, are also invited to take part in this conference because of the opportunity it provides for students to benefit from their presentations. Thank you very much for listening, and at this time we will take any questions pertaining to the presentation. The references for the presentation are listed in the following slides. Thank you.